Alright guys, welcome to my video review of the NECA Godzilla 2019 figure based on Godzilla from the upcoming film Godzilla King of the Monsters. I got the box here, so let's go over this. Godzilla is already out of it, but I still wanted to show everyone the box. Now, to be quite frank, I don't really like the box too much. I don't hate it, but it looks like the Jakks Pacific ones, and I wish they would have taken a little bit more time on it. But a good thing that they do have is this little opening flap, so you can kind of see what you're getting with a cool image of Godzilla right there. Also, it comes with some instructions on how to pop the tail on because it comes in two separate pieces. Now, as you can see from the clamshell there isn't any effects to this Godzilla. It's just the Godzilla figure. But for the price point of $24.99, that's not too bad. That's not too big of a deal. You got a cool picture of Godzilla right here. On the side, Godzilla King of the Monsters, that same picture. A little bit of the a synopsis, you could say, right there. On the back, this is my favorite part because it gets me very excited. A cool image of the figure right there, Godzilla King of the Monsters, the Legendary logo and the Toho logo, but also upcoming Rodan, Mothra, and the version 2 of Godzilla. I think it's a step in the right direction that NECA is doing alternative versions of their figures. On the top, picture Godzilla, Godzilla King of the Monsters, the 65th anniversary with Shin Godzilla up there. Also a little choking hazard. Don't put Godzilla in your mouth. And right here, we got the Godzilla King of the Monsters logo again with some specs. Measures 12 inches head to tail, hinged jaw, over 25 points of articulation. I believe that's true. I haven't counted yet, but I know the tail has at least 10. Did I get all the sides? So yeah, once again, not my favorite box, but I still appreciate it, and I do like how it opens up, and there's some cool information on it as well. Let's jump right into the figure now. All right, everybody, now that we got Godzilla out of the box, we're going to go over, first things first, there was some assembly required with this. The tail comes in two separate pieces, so when you get it out of the box, you're going to need to take the tail, and I took a blow dryer to the body part, and then just kind of put that socket in there. Now let's go over articulation. Actually, really quick, I took a blow dryer to the whole thing just so the joints would move a little bit more, because NECA's figures have been a little bit stiff in the past. But let's go over some articulation. So first, you got the head. Head rotates. Now the neck also rotates, but mine's stiff, and I know this is rubber, but I don't want to risk it. The arms go all the way around. They're on a ball joint. Elbow is on a hinge. And then the hand is also on a hinge. The upper body kind of rotates. On my first recording of this, I actually forgot that part. It's not really too useful. You can turn them this way. I guess you can turn them all the way around, but I don't really want to do that. So the legs will rotate all the way around. Now, I've seen some reviews say that the knee doesn't move. It doesn't go backwards much, but it does go forward in case you want him doing a drop kick or something. Another feature that I really love on this figure is the ankles. They are on a ball joint. So when you move his legs around, they can stay flat on the ground, which is awesome for a NECA figure because my 62 can't do that. So articulation in the tail is fantastic. There are 10 points. I kind of had to go through each one individually. There must have been like paint stuck in there. So you got 1 point, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points right at the break of the tail, 7, 8, 9, and 10 right at the booty. Very good articulation on this figure. NECA seems to be stepping up their game with articulation when it comes to that. And overall, the body has some nice weight to it. It's made out of a nice looking type of rubber or something. You can tell the dorsal fins are rubber. Now, on to some bad. So really quickly, there's not too much bad here. But if you look at Godzilla's eyes, so as I mentioned when I first picked up the box, he looks a little bit strung out on crack, and we don't want Godzilla to be on crack. A little bit derpy, but I'm actually going to take some acrylic paint and go through and touch that up myself. So not too bad. The gums are a little bit mispainted on mine. Oh, and as far as articulation, the jaw does open. A little bit of paint in there. My gums and teeth actually look pretty good, especially for a $25 figure. So the paint, not too bad on that actually. Where the paint really shines is, I'm going to kind of cover the design of this figure and the paint at the same time. So one of the huge selling points of this figure is his dorsal fins. Now, those are the 2019 dorsal fins, and they look much better. They look much more like the original Godzilla. and the paint on it, the paint application on it looks incredible. So it looks like a dry paint. The 2014 Godzilla looks like they kind of oiled him up in Vaseline and threw him in the ocean and pulled him out for you. But this looks like a much more dry paint application, and that helps the scales stay out more. There's a couple different tones of a very similar type of paint that really helps the scales pop, even right here and there. So the nails are painted green, which is a cool little touch. There's some scaling all down his crotch area. There's a little bit of a seam there, but it's not too bad. And then obviously his really cool 8-pack, 10-pack, whatever Godzilla's got there. His gills look a little bit more prominent due to the paint application and the new sculpt. And this sculpt is actually based on the CGI model that they had from the film as well. And the tail, a little bit shorter and a little bit stubbier at the end than the previous Godzilla, both in the film and in the NECA figures. It's a little bit closer to the original Godzilla, which I think is awesome that they're doing in the films these days. So yeah, overall, great paint application, minus the eyes. I'm going to touch that up myself. The sculpt looks fantastic. It's a nice heavy weight. The dorsal fins are the main selling point and my favorite part of this, besides the ankles being so cool. And good articulation. And while I'm wrapping up my final thoughts on the NECA Godzilla 2019, I'm going to run some images on the screen of some size comparisons from some of my other Godzilla figures, including the Godzilla 1962. So final thoughts. Little bit of quality control issues with the paint and the eyes, particularly. You're going to see that in almost every single review. I can paint over it. A little bit on the gums as well, but not too bad. I would give this figure an 8.5 out of 10. For the price point, you can't beat that, and I don't want to let that be just like a huge crutch for it. Like, I still judge the figure pretty critically, and I think this is a fantastic step in the right direction from NECA. Overall, 8.5 out of 10. I highly recommend this figure. I did have to call a couple different GameStops before I found one that had this figure, and they only had one in stock, and I've heard that from a couple different sources as well, that they only carry like one. So make sure you try to get them to hold that for you. Once again, I highly recommend this figure. Very impressed with the direction that NECA is going in, and I'm very much looking forward to their next figures in this line from Godzilla King of the Monsters. If you haven't already, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.